This, I wouldn't really call this a short film. It's more a music video and, it's a poem. So but yeah, it's the second time I'm working with Culture Machine. And it's been a great experience. I think that they are, very innovative, and Akanksha Seda, who is the director of Printing Machine also, has a very amazing creative mind. I don't need to explain things to her. She gets it immediately. What they've done with the sound and the visuals of this spoken word, is amazing. Slam poetry just sort of started coming to me, I've always been writing poems, but it was more for myself, just to get things out of my system, to think things through. I started doing it live in colleges. I started going to places like the Hive and performing it. And I love watching slam poetry, like Sarah Kay, Saul Williams, some of my favorite slam poets. I think it can be very revolutionary. It can be very interesting. I enjoy doing it. Just a lot of hard work, like everybody, no sleep for 3, 4, 5 days. A lot of people just, staying up, cutting and editing, a lot of edit work because it's so fast, each cut. Plus, these boys travel the length and breadth of Bombay to get all these shots of, the idea is to really get the expanse of noise and every type of noise that we have in our city and in our country. Long process.
Kalki's writing inspired us, and the intention of this entire piece of poetry inspired us. And the fact that the first innings with Kalki was so successful with the printing machine, it was a no-brainer to do this with her. And when she narrated this whole piece to me slowly, I was overwhelmed. And there was just one thought in my head that this needs to go out. More and more people need to hear this. We all feel it every day. We hear the noises every day. We're yet not aware of, there are physical noises of traffic, of people, of honking, of religiously encroaching sounds, as politically encroaching sounds, as social encroaching noises. But what Kalki has managed to do is take the metaphor of noise and take it to another level. Noise is also internal. Noise is also in our heads. Noise is how we look for a distraction every time to sort of not reach for that core inside of us. How she managed to do that stumped me and stumped us. So when we brought this 8-pager back in office, I think that those 8 pages were inspiration in itself. So there were 2 primary reasons that made us want to do this kind of a film. First was obvious that she's talking about noises, so we were clear that we want people to experience this film through all senses. It cannot be based in a studio, it cannot be a small space. We have to show what she's saying, and it has to be an assault on all your senses, because the writing has been in that kind of way. Secondly, obviously, because the printing machine, we were still coming out of that hangover. We didn't want it to look like we've tried to repeat our same old tricks of the book. So we said, okay, you know what, this time we're going to make it raw, we're going to make it unmanicured and real, and we're going to push you into the outdoor. We're going to have some fun with this, go wrong with it, go unpredictable with it, go soulful, dark and deep and adventurous with it. We're going to go technical with it, we're going to go graphic with it. So we wanted to do everything in this one video, because the writing was also everything. She's not spared a quarter. We didn't want to either. So I am a slam poetry virgin, but I'm very aware that Kalki is one of the very few people who in this country are genuinely and honestly are authentic slam poets. This trend is new. It's going to take time to sort of build, but thanks to people like her and thanks to a community that is slowly rising, that slam poetry is getting deeper, it's getting more meaningful, it's getting more playful, it's trying newer and newer ways to break the mold of what poetry can mean. And I think, Kalki is leading that way. As far as I am concerned, she's the only slam poet I know who's worth it in this country right now. And every time she writes something or shares something with me that she's written, it blows my mind every single time, because she reinvents and she thinks and she constantly wants to outdo her last written word. Stand-up comedy also took time in this country to sort of become the size that it has become, and it's still growing. It's still becoming heavy ticketed events. People want to watch it, want to spend money watching it, want to download videos. Views are going enormously towards stand-up comedy. The hope is that slam poetry too will reach that place one day, that people will run to events and theaters and halls and auditoriums and stages and things and watch things like these only because they like that art style. It's very renegade. It's very it's different, and it requires a lot of skill and a lot of art, and it requires a soul that I think is, you aren't born with it. It requires a lot of practice.